Hi guys, it's Jeff here from the Authentic channel. Have you got parents who treat you like a small child? Perhaps you've tried talking to them about how it is that their behavior is making you feel. It might be making you feel very small, very belittled, very immature, and no one wants to feel like that. If you've got parents like this, then this video is for you. I want to talk about infantilization, which is basically treating an individual as if they were much younger than their actual age. And the thing I want to say up front is that if you are being treated like this by somebody in your life, whether it's a parent or somebody else, it is a form of emotional abuse and it sucks. So, what does infantilization look like? It might be that parents who infantilize you tell you how to perform tasks which, at your age, you should know how to do yourself. I don't mean to say this as a way of shaming you that you haven't learned these tasks because often it's a result of poor parenting rather than the child being at fault. So I think this is quite hard to understand in abstraction. So I'm going to break this down in a few concrete examples for you. So the first example I want to talk about is a parent saying something like, remember to wash your hands. And if you've reached, say, the age of I don't know, 18, 19, 20, you know to wash your hands. And a parent who constantly tells you this is going to make you feel like a dependent child. And it's a tiny little thing, but these things add up. They're often not in isolation. And if you put them all together, it's going to really suck being in that environment as a child. Or you might have another example would be a an infantilizing mother-in-law coming around. Say you are happily married with your spouse, and the in-laws come over and visit, and the in-law will tell you or your spouse exactly how it is that you're not cleaning your house in the right way. This is treating an adult in a way that is much younger than their actual age, and it's deeply, deeply patronizing. If you've been on the end of this, you'll know how belittling um, it feels to be treated in this way. Another way that adults infantilize their children is they might hold you back completely from teaching you skills that you really need to function as a teenager or young adult. So there are loads of stories floating around the internet, for example, of infantilizing mothers who don't teach their daughters how to shave their legs. Then the daughter goes to school and is embarrassed because all her friends are shaving their legs, and she's not, and she doesn't really feel as if she fits in. It's very sad when parents do that to their children. Um, Mothers infantilize their daughter by not telling them how to buy the right size bra or not telling them how to use makeup appropriately. And these have very similar effects. An infantilizing father might hold back their son by never teaching him how to shave his face or never teaching him how to manage money appropriately. So these infantilizing parents, they hold you back from teaching you important skills that you need to function as an adult, and in so doing, they keep you dependent on them, and they keep you feeling like a much younger individual than you are, and that sucks, that feeling. Another way that infantilization often occurs is when parents assume responsibility for things that children should know how to do for themselves. This is kind of a variation on the theme I was talking about earlier. This often goes together with a sort of control freak type parent, an engulfing helicopter parent who will butt into the lives of their children and overstep boundaries all over the place, as if the parent and child are much the same person. Some examples of this, just to make the point a bit more concrete, would be a mother who books hair appointments for you when you're in your early 20s, or who insists on cutting your nails or cleaning your ears. These are things that once a child reaches a certain age, they should be able to do for themselves. Like much emotional abuse, this infantilization is often sold to the child as, I'm just trying to help you, I'm just doing this because I care about you, just doing this because I love you. But the actions of a mother who treats their child in this way are just enabling infantile and dependent behavior on behalf of the child. So it's just if the child really is incapable of doing these things for themselves, then parenting them in this way is just a short-term fix, which conceals the fact that the child was poorly parented at an earlier age. So the cycle goes on and on and on. And indeed, this leads me to my next point, which is that there's often a kind of spiral to infantilization. So, using the techniques I've just mentioned, parents will condition their children to behave in ways that are much younger than it is age appropriate by assuming responsibility for things that the child should know how to do for themselves, etc., etc. And once the child is infantilized, then the child um, might have interests, say, that would be typical for a child of a much younger age. And then the parents turn around to their child and they say, "Well, you're immature. Um, it's strange that you've got interests that are so unusual." And so the infantilizing behavior of the parent causes the child to act in a way which is younger than their age. Then the child gets criticized for acting in a way that's younger than their age, and the cycle goes on and on and on and on. It's a very sad place to be. Infantilization is often as much about the delivery as it is about what is being said. What do I mean by this? If you've ever experienced infantilization, you'll know that people who do this to you, they often speak to you in this kind of sing-song voice as if they were talking to a baby. They might say something like, "Oh, look how cute you look today," or "Well done." Um, and of course, it's very difficult for a child in that situation to defend themselves because it's very hard to criticize some for their tone of voice. So infantilization is this very subtle form of abuse that is almost always deniable on behalf of the abuser, and that makes it hard to spot and hard to defend against. Um, there's another example that really makes this point even clearer is if you imagine a situation where you and take a mother for example, you and your mother are walking through a doorway in public, and at the same time, on the other side of the doorway, there is an old lady who's a bit frail who's trying to come through, and your mother in public looks at you and says, "Careful the old lady," and you're in your 20s, and you feel completely humiliated in public. And the worst thing about it, as I said, is if you in that as a child in that position, if you protest, if you defend yourself, to onlookers it'll look as if you're overreacting, and that makes infantilization a fantastic way to emotionally abuse people from the perspective of an abuser. So why is it that adults infantilize their children this way? There are lots of reasons for this. I think the first reason is because it makes them feel powerful. If you, as an adult, um, are insecure and you speak to your child as if they are still your little baby, it makes you feel powerful. It makes you feel in control. And this is a great way of warding against anxiety or defending against insecurity without really going to the root of the issues. It might be for example, that the parents of your parents treated them in a similar way, which doesn't justify their behavior, but it means that they simply don't have a healthier behavioral template to relate to, so they just end up abusing their own children in the same way that they were abused themselves. This happens sadly all too often. Another reason why parents might infantilize their children is they might feel threatened by a child leaving the nest. If you think about it from the perspective of a parent who doesn't have much going on in their life, um, if the phase of life comes to an end where they've got children to look after, they might suddenly feel as if their life doesn't have any meaning anymore. And rather than do the mature thing of, say, finding interests that they genuinely want to pursue, or doing things that they think are cool, instead they will infantilize their children and try to stop their child from flying the nest at any possibility. And they use infantilization precisely because it induces feelings of dependency and weakness, um, and it makes it that much harder for their child to break free. So I want to end this video by referring to you. You're probably, if you're watching this video, you're probably someone who has experienced infantilization either firsthand. You might have witnessed a sibling getting treated by your parents in this way, and I want to give you a couple of tips about how to deal with it. The first thing I'd say is to try to spend as little time as possible with infantilizing parents and seek out people who don't make you feel immature. There are lots of good people in this world. There are lots of people you can make friends with who will treat you as you are. They'll treat you like someone of your age. You don't have to spend as much time as you are currently with parents who treat you like crap. You're better than that. Another thing that's very helpful is to try to take your life back from infantilizing parents in baby steps. Because to go from a position where you're less mature than your peers to becoming a normal quote unquote adult in one fell swoop is very challenging indeed. So it's important to break this down into small steps. Let me give you an example of this. Let's say you've got an infantilizing father who has controlled you, he's held you back from establishing deeper, more adult relationships. He might have isolated you. Um, he might have grounded you, insisted that you always stay home and do chores. Whatever it is, he's stopped this part of your personality from developing. How would you go about dealing with this in a kind of step-by-step way? So you might start by finding like-minded people online. If you've got a particular interest that you're always reading about, there are internet forums and chat groups where you can meet like-minded people. From there, you might branch out into a regular meetup offline. You might start, say you're a musician, you might start going to orchestra once a week, and that might be a way to sort of slowly start socializing and to gradually start to establish those deeper relationships that you crave based on a common interest. From there, you could start to really do some serious inner work, whether you do it on your own or with the help of a coach or therapist, to reflect on the sort of people that you want to hang out with, the sort of relationships that you want to deserve. The most important thing is to take it slowly and to celebrate the little victories as you progress. It's really helpful if you find friends who celebrate those victories with you. That can be really validating if you're in that situation. So I want to end by saying it's okay to be you. People mature and develop at different rates, and you're okay as you are. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to subscribe to my channel if you want to receive any more similar videos in future. Um, this is a problem in society which is chronically underreported, so I'd appreciate it if you could possibly share this video with your friends to help me spread the word about emotional abuse and this video particularly infantilization. Um, Send me an email if you've got any more questions, write a comment, and I'll see you in the next video.